something went down major yesterday that kind of rocked the entire industry, and that is what's happening at Bioware. Some big names leaving Bioware. Who knows what's going to be next for them, the projects they're working on, and the industry in general. Mark, tell us a little bit about what exactly the situation is.
So two very important people left Bioware. Casey Hudson, who was the creative director on all 3 Mass Effect games. There were only 3. And Mark Dara, who I think was the exec producer on Dragon Age Inquisition and was kind of the lead on the first 2 Dragon Ages as well, or like creative. I forget what his exact title was there. But the main Dragon Age guy and the main Mass Effect guy are finally just like, yeah, we're out of Bioware. Which after everything that's gone on with both Mass Effect Andromeda, which is a game that they didn't make, and Anthem, has kind of put Bioware in a really bad spot lately. And there's been all sorts of stuff with them tearing down Anthem and trying to make Anthem 2.0, and then saying that they're canceling Dragon Age 4 and turning it into a live service game. So in my opinion, pulling the parachute cord was probably the best idea for both of them. And I hope they go on to not work for EA.
Yeah, that's actually the worry, because I mean, as much as I can sit here and compliment something like major players leaving a company to create another, like a Respawn, ultimately it kind of came full circle because Respawn is now attached to EA again. You know what I mean? So
I look at this and I just remember the days of Mass Effect in its heyday in the trilogy. And, I think we saw this happen with multiple, major, what were kind of independent developers before they were bought up by the big corporations like Microsoft, and how their situation with Bungie played out. And now, seeing BioWare and how their situation is playing out, looking at Bethesda. Bethesda was in and of itself a huge corporation. But again, once the bottom line starts becoming bigger than the art that these creators are making, they begin to splinter off and try to, become an indie developer. I mean, Bethesda had their situation where now you had a lot of people who were involved with Fallout leaving and creating their own kind of Fallout style kind of game. What was it called again? I forget the name of it. The Outer Worlds.
That was actually, it was a separate studio to begin with. It was Obsidian. They're the studio though that made Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah. This just a big, kind of an exodus of these creators. They're not necessarily involved with or care so much about, bottom line and boardroom politics. They really want to create good games, good products. And when you see companies like EA, Microsoft kind of interfere in that, the heads, the guys who kind of had the vision for those properties, they just decide to leave. It's just kind of, that's been the trend, over the last so many years.
Well, and we talked a little bit before we went live. So many of the ex-Blizzard people that started Dreamhaven, it seems like people are starting to flee some of these established places and kind of do their own thing. You have to wonder if with both of these guys leaving right now, if a couple months we might hear them pop up somewhere else. We also recently heard the guys from Ben's studio who did Days Gone. Both of them left just a couple days ago as well, very, very quickly. What's your take on all this, Lethal?
I think the BioWare we all knew and love is dead, gone. EA has just completely destroyed it. I'm still looking forward to that Mass Effect trilogy remaster. I will be getting that. But anything new coming out, be very, very skeptical. Like the days of KOTOR, they're gone. They're never coming back.
Yeah.
KOTOR is done. We'll never see a third one.
Me and Mark's talked about this. I think competition's a good thing. And if creative voices are breaking off and creating, independent studios or new franchises, I think that that's ultimately good for the consumer, especially if those creative voices feel like that they're, being hindered in any way. So we'll see where it all plays out. But it does seem like when a company when creative voices break off and create an independent studio, it kind of comes back full circle, because look at Titanfall 2 and how that was completely ruined by EA with the release date and where they put it. But they gave Respawn the capital and the infrastructure they needed to develop the best game possible. But ultimately, they killed the game at the same time. So that's the problem.
Now Respawn is kind of the only thing. It's the only jewel in EA's crown right now, because Apex Legends and Jedi Fallen Order are sort of the only big hits that EA's had outside of sports in the last little bit. So, true. I think that like ultimately, I think EA might be realizing that they probably should have put more weight behind Titanfall 2 than Battlefield 1.
Yeah, so all in all, it's an interesting phenomenon. We have a lot of people leaving these big studios. We'll see if they end up anywhere, but for sure, I can say, I think all of us on here understand it's not a very good thing if you're looking forward to the next Mass Effect game, if you're looking forward to Dragon Age 4 and for BioWare in general.